Alright, so I'm sitting here just sipping some tea right now, and I want to tell you guys about my top 26 albums of 2016, so let's get into it. We're gonna get into it. And I apologize if I look down too much. I have my list here. I want to make sure I don't stray too much, and yeah, so that's that. Number 26, Alter Bridge with Last Hero. So this, I never heard of Alter Bridge before this album came out last year. Sorry, my dog just yelped a little bit. She was yawning. So yeah, apparently they're a pretty popular American hard rock band, but again, this is the first time I've heard of them, and I immediately fell in love with Miles Kennedy's voice. So I'm not sure if you're like really in the know of like what I play on my metal show and just what I listen to in general, but I really love strong, powerful vocals, especially metal singers who just have some insane, so basically chilling vocals I'm looking for. That really sells me. So yeah, and also the vocal melodies are very catchy, so this is easily an album you can find yourself singing along to. Number 25 is going to be Ape Cave with Pillars of Evolution. This is actually the first album I listened to in 2016. I remember it distinctively because it just came out January 1st, and I was like, hey, it's time to get into some 2016 metal. And this is a great doom metal album. It's actually Ape Cave's debut album. They also have a release lined up for this year, 2017. So they're definitely trying to make their mark, and they're doing really well, and I definitely recommend this album. For some reason, I skipped over number 24 for the live recording of this video, so let's do a voiceover. Number 24 is Love Sex Machine with Asexual Anger. This album definitely got me so pumped. It's a fiery mix of doom and sludge, and it feeds my darkness. And I love how the production on the album kind of highlights the instrumentation over the vocals. It's a very nice effect. Number 23 is going to be Oceans of Slumber with Winter. I used to be really into progressive metal in my early metal interest days, but I don't listen to it that much nowadays. But this album, Winter, definitely brought me back. Cami Wilbert does an amazing job and has these most gorgeous female vocals that just bring out everything about the progressive metal that's playing behind her. It's amazing. I recommend this album for sure, and I hope to see them live so I can see those vocals in action. Number 22 is Devil to Pay, A Bend Through Space and Time. A band I've never heard of, once again, but they definitely stood out to me, especially the vocals. I'm just all about vocals, but the vocals bring me back to early 90s kind of grungy vocals, and these have that really just like really angst sound, and the music behind it is so bluesy and awesome. So yeah, definitely a grunge throwback for me. Number 21 is Mammoth with Deviations. Super hyper jazzy progressive metal, like math metal. It's so good. You can tell the musicians are very talented, and I love listening to that. Number 20 is Goblin Cock with Necro Namdan King Kong Gimmicon. I think I got that right. Anyway, so I love anything Rob Crow does. Goblin Cock is awesome. I'm a big Pinback fan. So it was only natural I'd follow his more metal side project, and I just, he does his thing. Number 19 is Cough with Still They Pray. That opening track has one of the most dirty ass riffs, and I was instantly hooked from start to finish with this doom psychedelic album, and I recommend it. I recommend all these, so I should probably stop saying recommended, but check out Cough if you have not heard of them. Number 18 is C2A with Set Course for Ajamita. This is also a super jazzy, hyper, math, metal, progressive rock. That sounded so random coming out of my mouth, but that describes it the best for me. And the best thing about C2A is, that's one person curating all this music. He curates the tracks, produces, and I believe he still self-releases everything. And he calls his tunes happy progressive metal tunes. So if you're into just really trippy stuff, like guitar technicality is out of this world, you should definitely check out C2A. Alright, so 17 is Nat, self-titled. So this was definitely a gem to find. I was so happy when I found this Italian post-metal band. And they're all instrumental. So if you're a fan of Pelican, Pelican is one of my top 5 metal bands ever. So this definitely was something I held on to. So if you're a fan of Pelican, check out Nat. Number 16 is Dillinger Escape Plan with Disassociation. It's kind of sad, but I did not know this would be the final Dillinger Escape Plan while listening to this. But yeah, that pissed me off. I didn't know, I wasn't keeping up with everything. But despite that, I found this album really, really memorable. It has to be one of my favorite vocal efforts as well. The final DEP album. At least you can know that I'm not biased and I actually think it's a legit, fantastic final composition by Dillinger Escape Plan, and I highly recommend it. Number 15 is 40 Watt Sun with Wider Than the Sky. So this is definitely not the typical metal you would find. I personally came across it in the metal releases section, but it's definitely not metal. It's more of a really alternative yet folkish rock. Most of the songs are double digits in length, but that time will go by so freaking fast, and yeah, that's the beauty of that kind of music. It's great. Number 14 is If These Trees Could Talk with The Bones of a Dying World. Again, not metal, but I love my post-rock, and was definitely memorable. A memorable release of 2016. Number 13 is Bosk with Audio Nuire. Instrumental, sick metal. I've been following these guys for a while, and I feel like they integrated a lot more, soundscapes, and kind of lean towards more of a post-rock aspect in this album. But it's still a super solid release, and that's why they made it on my list. Number 12 is Sourvein with Aquatic Occult. Absolutely on my list for the pure sludge of it all. Feedback distortion and crazy double-layered trippy vocals. Keep doing your thing, T-Boy. Number 11 is Mustard Gas and Roses with Becoming. Another instrumental album. This particular project features ex-ISIS guitarist Michael Gallagher. So if you're into instrumental, but if you're a past ISIS fan, it's definitely worth checking out. And by the band name, you know that he loves Kurt Vonnegut. So it's super emotional instrumental, but still it's very heavy and dense. Alright, we're getting into our top 10s. So, number 10 is Trap Them with Cron Farrell. My boys from Trap Them, I will always love everything they put out. I just have undying dedication to Trap Them because I've seen them multiple times live and they just kill it every time. Number 9 is Asteroid with 3. The Swedish progressive rock band that I've been following for years upon years, and they just got back from their hiatus. They haven't put out music in 4 or 5 years, and so I definitely wasn't the only one who was happy to hear new stuff from them. I consider their music generally super sexy blues, and the vocal play between, I believe, Robin Hurst and Johannes Nilsson, I'm probably wrecking those pronunciation, but we're gonna keep going. The vocal play between the two has always been an attractive aspect of Asteroid to me, and they definitely keep that up with this release, and they even have more infuriatingly catchy riffs, so check it out. Number 8 is Conjurer's EP Roman numeral 1. This is the first ever EP by this UK posty black metal band, but it definitely shows that you need to be watching out for anything they put out because this is a solid release. Number 7 is Graves at Sea with The Curse That Is. From start to finish, this album is 6 slow-crawling, blood-curdling tracks with gremlin vocals just pioneering it through. To me, this is a classic album, which is why it's high on the list. So if you have not listened to it, you know what to do. Number 6 is Netherlands with ebonie, I believe. This album is bittersweet because it's so short in length, but every track is very heavy and memorable. Timo Ellis is a musician who's been around for over 2 decades, and this project basically is his exploration into his heavier side. So if you aren't on the train yet, you need to, add him to your watch list because Netherlands is putting out some sick shit. Number 5 is Nebula Come Sweet with It Is Not the Night That Covers You. I actually almost missed this release because I believe this album came out October, November-ish, but I ended up falling so behind with metal releases that I ended up skipping a couple, and this is one of them. But I went back. This is the first full length from this band from Belarus. It's very post-rocky, but they have a saxophone, which was a seller for me. So if you're into that kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's rare to hear saxophone in post-metal and make it work well. So whenever I hear a band that incorporates that really kind of a gloomy, very down-tempo sound of saxophone, and they do it well, I'm definitely hooked. Like another band that does saxophone and their post-metal is Callisto, so I recommend checking them out, as well as Nebula Come Sweet. Number 4 is Helms Ali, Still Aside. This album made me a big Helms Ali fan. All the tracks are perfectly balanced and they pull from various elements like post-hardcore, stoner, melodic rock, and they just make it work. And female singers killing it. Yep, that's why it's number 4. Number 3 is Neurosis with Fires Within Fires. I worship all things Neurosis, and that's why they are number 3. Number 2 is Cult of Luna with Mariner. Anything Cult of Luna does, absolutely anything, it's on the money for me. I fell in love with them years ago with the release of Somewhere Along the Highway. Though I was slightly scared at first because it was a collaboration album with Julie Christmas. I had never heard of Julie Christmas before. I know, shame on me. I kind of just wanted a pure Cult of Luna album simply because, I was being selfish, that's what I do. But it turns out their collaboration with Julie Christmas was fucking amazing. They put out some even more emotional tracks like Chevron, oh my gosh. Yo, that track, I can listen to that on repeat multiple times. Alright, so what did I put as number 1 for my top 26 albums of 2016? Number 1 is Sumac with What One Becomes. To be honest, when I first heard this album, I knew it would be my top 5, but at the end of the year, it just had to be number 1 because nothing surpassed it in my opinion. If you don't know already, this is one of the projects of ex-ISIS member Aaron Turner. He does a lot of shit, so I'm always checking out what he's doing. Also Brian Cook and Nick Yakshin is in it. Wow, butchering fucking names today. I like Sumac a lot, and I love his album a lot because it exemplifies really, really minimalistic music styles. The experience of listening to this album is actually like you're listening to machines make music. And I know that's, technically, I guess machines are making music, whatever. But it has a very machinic sound, and it's very interesting to sit and actually listen for the melody to come out, and how interesting the method of just kind of putting little hints of melody and minimalism throughout the music, and taking advantage of long crescendos and just silences and all that stuff. So it's a very abstract album, I will tell you that. Extremely experimental, but I think it's, absolutely my number 1. I loved it the most. Alright, so that is all I got for you. I just really want to share my end of the year list because, I just wanted to see if you guys listen to any of these albums. I definitely appreciate when I see a lot of end of the year lists that are comprised with a lot of albums I have not heard or just missed out on, because I'd rather not have all end of the year lists be the same. So yeah, how about you guys comment below with what your #1 metal album release was for 2016, and we can start a dialogue. If you don't know already, I have a radio show where I play a lot of metal, and I hope both you and I are drinking a lot of coffee every Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. If you aren't able to tune in live on WKDU.org, if you aren't able to tune in live, I do post the show about a couple days after it was live. So just follow me on Twitter at @metalandcoffee_, and you can, you know, stay up to date with when that's happening and also my random ass thoughts. So until next time.